Okay. Calling the meeting to order at 7:49. In accordance with the open meeting law, the board states, the board states that for the record that this meeting is being recorded by NORCAM and may be recorded by other local media. Please stand as you can. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Again, for those who are accessing the meeting via Microsoft Teams, we are still working through some issues, but I think we're up and running, and we're being told that we can generally be heard over Teams. Eddie, how are we doing over on your side?
We're still working on getting it out there live, but
So
it'll
this
be
is-
ready by tomorrow.
So this is being recorded and it'll be up on
Yeah.
YouTube tomorrow, but not be broadcast live.
Yeah, Matt and Bob are still working on that.
Thank you, appreciate your efforts to try to resolve that. First item is to recognize Hudson Ford, his achievement of Eagle Scout. Thank you for joining us. You want to come up front here and take a seat?
Sure.
And maybe just start by introducing yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself and what your Eagle project is.
Awesome. I'm Hudson Caper. I recently graduated from high school. I'll be headed off to UMass Amherst this upcoming year for a degree in statistics and mathematics. I managed to graduate valedictorian at a smaller high school in Beverly. My Eagle Scout project was to repair the interior of the well house attached to the Putnam House. There was fire damage in it sometime in the late 90s. I'm not sure, I wasn't around for it. But we tore out the inner siding, which had also just been dilapidated, and the room was filled with debris, so it was not a viable fire exit or entrance or exit, so there was only one way in and one way out of the Putnam House. So I tore out the siding, replaced some of the 2x4s for structural integrity, and additionally replaced the inner siding and built a desk for the Historical Society to use as an informational stand or gift shop for proceeds.
And who did you bring along with you today?
Today I have my parents, Kenyon and Rebecca Caper.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this is the before. And that's the after.
Very nice.
Yes, under that pallet there's the old well, and we're gonna put a grate over that. Well, not me, but you know, someone who's skilled with metalworking. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, right under there.
From when you started to when you finished, how long did it take?
I mean, like paperwork stuff.
Planning. It starts with a plan.
The entire, paperwork, probably like a year and a half, but the actual work took roughly a month.
Oh, wow.
Building the desk took the longest, and then, because I had to make the blueprints for that as well. And fundraising also took about half a year.
How did you fundraise?
I fundraised by actually going around to local businesses and just requesting money, and thankfully many of them were able to chip in a little bit. Moynihan gave me a bit of a discount, so shout out to Moynihan Lumber.
Good, great, very good. And from when you became first class scout, how long did it take you to become Eagle?
I don't even know.
Because that's as far as I made it, and I
It's
always
very,
stare
very
at myself.
long. 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to first class kind of fast, and then took a long time on starting life.
Yeah, that's where I had to bail. It was just too long. So
First class is all
congratulations.
you need for the basic scout skills.
Congratulations, that's a
Thank you.
major, major achievement. Other comments from my colleagues?
Yeah, as a member of the Historical Society, thank you. Putnam House is pretty central to a lot of the things we do, so really appreciate that. Hudson, if you will, just pick one of your many decorations that you're wearing and just tell us about it. For someone who was not in the Scouts, I did Cub Scouts for a minute when I was very young. It's,
Oh, just one? Okay. I guess I would go with, this is the vintage, first class insignia. People used to put them on right over the patch. I found it on a very, very old uniform that I found at a flea market. And I have it just because it's really important to recognize where scouting has come and where it came from. 1910 with Lord Baden-Powell coming from England, because he found a boy in the tannest uniform he ever saw who guided him to his home in the fog, so that he wouldn't get lost. He brought that with him to the United States. And back in the 40s, 50s, one of the first class rank requirements was to go and walk as far as you could into the woods until nobody could see you, and you would spend a night alone, and you would light a fire so that your troop knew that you were safe. So it's not really as gung-ho nowadays, but I think it's really, really important to just see, the history of the organization, and yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
No, that's not it.
No.
I've got
There's a
more.
few of us up
No,
here.
right, no, that's not it.
We usually have a really hot spotlight, but it's broken at the moment, so you're getting a little bit of a break tonight.
No, I mean, people like yourself who put yourself out and accomplish something at such a young age, and again, do something good for the community. It's few and far between. It gives all of us significant hope in the next generation that's coming up here, that people who care about the community, who care about their fellow person, is here, and you're here in front of us, and that's you're to be congratulated. UMass, what are you going to be studying out there? Do you know? Structural engineering?
Statistics and mathematics.
Oh, all right.
Ooh,
But I'll probably change majors. once
That's
or
hard.
twice. Who knows?
that's hard.
That's-
Stats is hard. You ever read a stats book? I've gone through one
Yeah.
page and I was done.
Yeah. No, but again, congratulations on your accomplishment. Congratulations to your parents for the support, I'm sure. It was substantial over the years. And you have another Eagle Scout sitting right there, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't know. So quite an accomplishment, and what you've done, Putnam House, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ms. Moore?
Congratulations, I've seen the desk during last year Christmas festivities, and it looks great. I didn't actually realize it was newly built, so kudos on making it match the existing structures, so thank you, congratulations, and good luck in college.
Yes. We used square cut nails, which I thought, man, it's gonna be great to look, historically accurate, but pain in the butt.
You wonder how they did it, huh?
Yeah,
But, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad it looked historically accurate. I'm glad.
Yeah, good.
awesome.
Mr. Massey?
Nothing my colleagues haven't said, but congratulations and very good quality work. So thank you very much. It's amazing.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we had something for you.
We do. Hudson, we have a certificate of recognition that I will read.
Awesome.
Certificate of recognition. The town of North Reading is honored to present this certificate as an expression of its high regard to Hudson Caper upon his attaining the rank of Eagle Scout as a member of Scouting America, and to extend a personal thank you for the community service work performed in achieving this honor on August 17th, 2026.
Let's get a picture with this young man.
What do you report for duty there?
That'll be the third.
The third?
Background there.
milestones?
We get close.
Thank you.
Great town.
I see you.
Thank you. We'll just, we say this to everybody, you're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Thank you very much.
See you later. Good night. And they always take us up on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Moving on to meeting minutes. So July 20, 2026. And I think we're taking these separately, correct?
Yes, I see Mr. Massey stepped away for a moment, or maybe he's still there, but I do know he had some revisions that he wanted to bring up with the board.
So let's start with 7/21. Do you all have his,
Yeah, were those sent around?
what's that?
Just making sure that those got sent around.
They haven't been sent around, Nick.
Well, I printed out the 7/21.
You have,
I only have the 7/20, but if I'm the only one who has it, I mean,
They're in the packet?
so let's say, what's that?
the minutes are in the packet, Mr. Massey had some suggested revisions.
Do we have those?
I don't know that you have them. I think, Rich, you might have been on.
Maybe I'm
Email.
the only one who got them. Sorry if that's the case.
There you go.
Nick, I see your email responding back from 2 o'clock. I hadn't seen it with regard to circulating the edits. So there were a number of them, and I think Mr. Massey was concerned about having to read through all of them.
Yeah.
So we want to circulate them to be reviewed.
Yes.
We can do that.
Yes.
And then the board can consider at the next meeting.
So we
Yeah.
don't have them yet?
You don't have them, no.
Don't
Only
have
Mr. Warner has them.
Yep.
These are for, are they the 20th and the 3rd? Yes, they're both
Yeah,
meetings.
20th and the 3rd. I will come back with, to you, Mr. Massey, with some of my thoughts about this.
So you'll be circulating them to the other?
I will, yeah, I'm happy to do so.
Yeah.
And as far
I'm
as-
gonna, actually, I'd want to be the one to start it off, though, so I'll come back with my comments.
You're going to discuss it right now?
No, I'm saying, before you hand it off to everybody else, I want to come back with just some general comments from Mr. Massey and myself, just so we're kind of on the same page, but not tonight,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, let's go on. So we recognize the Eagle Scout, that was very good. Sounds like a very smart person. Okay, introduce Senior Center Elder Services Director, so we're on to that.
So we're not doing these motions right now.
We're not going to do the meeting minutes
It's
motions.
just keeping us on the timeline. We'll need
I'm sorry.
to approve, yeah, the 3rd meeting. So the next meeting we would have to approve for the July 20th minutes. Sorry?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The next meeting. So July 20th, we would need to vote on at the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm realizing that 30 days is going to be an issue.
Well, we might have to do A3 by the next.
Sorry, Rich, did you say you wanted to talk to me about that?
Yes, but not tonight.
Yeah, you want to call me?
Sure.
What I'm going to suggest then is that we should probably look to schedule a meeting, so because they have to be approved within 3 meetings or 30 days, and we're going to run up against the 30 days for the July 20th minutes.
So is it the July 20th one that we're having a hard, that's not the one that's the time pressure one?
I think the July 20th is one line, Nick, if I understood it right?
Yeah.
So we might be able to make that amendment and address it if that's what folks want to do.
Yeah, we can just knock off the 721,
Okay.
yeah, because that's just one line. So let's get everybody to the meeting notes. Let's find out what page that's on. 720.
What's the one line?
Under appointment. I want to get you all there where it's supposed to be. Nick, do you know what page it's on?
No.
Push.
Again, we can talk about this offline if you want.
Well, but he's telling us we have to do a
I'm
special
worried
meeting.
about the
We're not gonna
deadline.
schedule a special meeting just to,
Yeah, I'm worried about the 30 days.
Mhm.
That's the issue that we gotta be cognizant of. That with the third meeting, we gotta cover, we can take care of that.
So the only reason I was voting no on an appointment is the only reason for the amendment is to include the reasoning as to why. That's all.
But where is that in the meeting notes? What specifically are we supposed to be adjusting?
looks like page 12 of 68, page 12 of our packet
12?
is where I see an A on an appointment by Mr. Massey.
Yeah, I believe it's page,
Page 6 or
Page-
7 of the meeting minutes, but it's page
Page 13.
page
13.
13. Yeah, it's page 13. And I'll put it up on the screen.
Page 13.
'Cause I
Okay, I
think
got
we
it.
should be able to
All
address
right,
that
so
now.
then,
So the motion's up on the screen, and I think
okay, so,
if we want to do the motion to approve the minutes, that's in the packet, and then we'll have the discussion,
okay, all right, let's
Just
do
the
that.
council- Just the motion to approve the minutes,
the July 20th minutes.
July 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the regular session minutes for the July 20th, 2026 meeting with amendments discussed at the...
No.
Just-
Just approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the regular session minutes for the July 20th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
Okay, so, motion by Mr. Tyler, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion?
Uh,
Go ahead, Mr. Massey.
Chairman, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering how we got to that motion. I thought we were discussing.
We're discussing it now, right? Or you can
Okay.
make a motion to amend.
I was just hoping to discuss it around to you guys just so this would be able to process. But do you still haven't seen anything?
No, they haven't, we're trying to, so what we're trying to do, Nick, is we're trying to knock off the July 20th meeting notes, so we don't have to have a special meeting between now and the next meeting. So considering that you're
Yeah, I
suggesting
did.
a one sentence change, I think we can handle that through this, whether we go for it or not. But they haven't had a chance to see it, so you have to explain where it shows up here and what you would like to say.
Are you seeing the minutes?
So it's
Nick?
under
So I-
the appointment. That is on the screen.
Yep.
Where I voted name, just trying to bring up the email. Please include the reasoning as to why I voted no. Mr. Massey explained he's voting no after discussions he's had with constituency.
Regarding this individual. So I have a question. Did you say this during the meeting?
Yes, I said that because of discussions that I've had with my constituency.
So, but you didn't give us a timestamp where we could verify that, which we asked for. So what he wants to add in is, Mr. Massey explained he's voting no after discussions he's had with his constituency regarding this individual.
Yeah.
I'm saying for two reasons. One, you didn't give us a timestamp, and two, I don't think we've ever done that kind of explanation on anybody I can
Rich,
think
we
of.
always do it for people that vote no. We always do it. I've always asked this since I sat on the board.
No, that's
When I
fine,
vote no on things,
That's fine.
all I'm asking for is just to put the reason I said I'm not voting.
but no, what I'm saying is, when other people have said no, we don't put in the reason why.
They can look at their meeting minutes. It's not to me to look at someone else's
Well,
As they
as a
wanted.
reminder, all our meetings are recorded anyway, so anybody could go and find what your reasoning was back then. So for precedent, and also, I just say no to it. That's my personal opinion. What does the board say?
It's a roll call, right?
Well, no, I mean, do you have any discussion? You don't have to.
I don't have any comments. No.
Okay.
Why are these meeting minutes at such minor edits that are the truth just such an issue?
Can't hear you.
With-
Say that again.
With this chairman. Huh?
I didn't hear what you said. You were quiet. Sorry. Say it again.
I said, why are meeting minutes that are such minor edits, why are they such an issue? Why is it such an issue with this chairman? To make it a process, like I never get seconded on my motions to amendments on meeting minutes. What's up with it? It's the truth. I want documented in writing the reason that I, as an elected board member, voted no on a vote.
That's
It's
fine.
as simple as that.
That's your
I
request.
said what I said at the meeting, it's exactly what I put in.
That's your request, and then it's up to the board to decide if we agree with you. That's the way it works. All right.
Okay, so you guys don't want me to put the reasoning that I'm voting no on someone? Is there a reason? Like, really? What's the reason?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Massey. Anybody else have any other comments? No, okay. As the motion, Ms. Moore,
Are we voting on
The
the motion
motion.
as it stands or the motion as amended?
only on the motion. Only on the as it appears right here.
Aye.
Wait, I haven't made my amendment yet, Mr. Chairman.
Mr., what was that?
Okay?
I
So
didn't-
I'd like to make an amendment, then, if you're not gonna entertain even a discussion by my board members after I read that up. So I guess I'll have to create a motion.
Yep,
Mr.
create a
Chairman, I
motion.
move to amend the July 20th minutes under appointments, under Lillian Hartman, as to the reasoning that I voted no.
And that is? What are the words? What are the
What we
words?
just read out.
Well, you have to read it, sorry.
Sure, absolutely, not a problem. Mr. Massey explained he is voting no after discussions he's had with his constituency regarding this individual.
Okay. Second on the motion?
I'll second it for the purposes of discussion.
Okay, second by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion?
Yeah.
No discussion? All set, then Ms. Moore, on the amended motion.
No.
Mr. O'Leary?
No.
Mr. Tyler?
Nay.
Mr. Massey?
Aye.
And then chair is nay. Okay, we'll come back with the meeting minutes from 8:03. Later.
Now on the main motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, on the main motion, that's right, okay.
Good.
On the main motion,
Okay.
Ms. Moore? Oh, any further discussion on the main motion? You can't keep talking over me, Mr. Massey. Raise your hand as you've been asked before, okay? Ms. Moore?
Virtual, sorry.
Aye.
Again, Mr. Massey, I asked you not to interrupt, and you're doing it multiple times.
Rich, I'm not.
Yes,
Rich, I'm
you
not.
just did.
Sorry, it's coming through delayed. I'm sorry.
Okay, then
Relax.
you need to be
It's coming
aware of
through
that.
delayed.
You need to be aware of that
Thank
then.
you.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. O'Leary?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Mr. Massey?
What are we voting on?
The main motion.
What is that?
The original meeting minutes as we saw them on the board.
What date?
We're only talking about 7:20,
Nah.
okay? And chair is aye. Okay.
But we're definitely not doing the August 3rd. We're definitely not doing August 3rd.
We're not doing August 3rd at this
I
time.
would ask that what's being proposed be circulated
Yes.
to the board members so that we don't have to
No, we're not
waste
going
20
to,
minutes.
yeah,
Uh,
agreed.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Let's go on to the introduction of the Senior Center Elder Services Director. Michael?
Excellent. Jackie, do you want to come forward and sit at the kind of small table that's there? I don't know what happened to our full-size table. There must be one of them over there. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hi. Pleased to announce that Jackie Quinn has been appointed to the position of Senior Center / Elder Services Director. So thank you very much for your willingness and interest in the position. For those who don't know, I think most in the room actually do know, she has been wearing two hats since April 24th. But who's counting?
You know what-
Well, exact time, dates, it's just,
And has done a great job, fantastic job, given the limitations on resources that we have at the center. And she was one of a handful of candidates, 2 finalists for the position. Not only do we have the experience of her work day to day in the center over the past few years, but also did well in the interviews both with the screening committee, which was made up of a few folks, including representatives of the Council on Aging, and then also meeting with me on a couple of different conversations. I think she's the right person at the right time for us. We have, I think, some very important goals for the Department of Elder Services, including a center, but we also have the limitations of having to do the best that we can with what we have right now as well. And I think that in Jackie, we have a candidate that can do that. So congratulations. Thank you for everything that you have done, particularly over the past few months. But congratulations on the new position, which she will assume beginning Wednesday.
Congratulations.
why are we waiting until Wednesday? Payroll, okay.
And only that.
Enough of that.
I do want to recognize the representatives of the Council on Aging, Barbara and Valerie, who helped in the screening process over here this evening as well. And then also Sue, who's here from the center, who I know you've done a fantastic job as well for a couple of transitions over your time with us. So thank you for all of that.
Jackie's a great candidate, and we support her and everything. So
That's great.
Great.
Great to hear, and I've heard nothing but that from everybody that I've spoken with. And then also to Pat and Rita for everything that you do for the senior center, maybe sometimes in an unofficial capacity, but thank you for everything.
Okay. Thanks again. Welcome. You're good, unless you have a comment. Do you want to say something?
No,
Oh, Valerie.
I'm honored to be in this role. As Michael pointed out, I've been at the senior center in the program coordinator capacity for the last 3 years. In that role, I've seen firsthand some of our successes, both at a personal level, whether it be a balance class or fitness or caregiver support group. And those are short wins that really mean a lot to myself and to the staff and the volunteers every single day. We really impact people's lives. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter of this and helping with our challenges. Certainly the infrastructure is a challenge, but we can also improve some of our protocols and processes in the meantime to
Good.
just streamline our work that we're currently doing. I'm
Great.
honored to be in this role, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, pleasure again.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, sure.
since Jackie's right there, and we are going to appoint her to the site evaluation committee, can we take that out of order and just do that now?
It's okay with
That's
me.
fine, yeah.
It's okay with, yeah, it's okay with me. Can you get to the site evaluation committee? Because it's, it's number 10 on our list.
Yeah.
So we're looking for that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, let's do it now. Yes.
I'd just like to comment, you're obviously coming in eyes wide open, so that's great. And again, we do have a lot of challenges in front of us, and you are the right person at the right time. I'm confident of that. You do enjoy the support of the staff and volunteers, and it's sometimes not easy. And you've done a wonderful job thus far, and again, everybody is just sounding your praises, and we're looking forward to being as supportive as we can. So it's, don't be shy, and you're going to be a terrific advocate.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move to appoint Jacqueline Quinn in her capacity as Council on Aging Director to the Site Evaluation Committee for a term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tyler, second by Ms. Moore. Any further discussion? And you can back out now if you want.
No, you can't.
Hearing
First
none?
meeting's on Thursday.
Hearing none. Mr. Massey?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. O'Leary?
Aye.
Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
And Chair is aye. Congratulations again.
Thank you again.
See you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yes, sir.
And I'll repeat what I said earlier. You're welcome to stay for the duration of the meeting, but you certainly don't have to.
Or you can put on your running shoes and run right out the door. All right. I think we're North Reading Police Department potential acquisition of a facility dog.
Chief.
That's looking forward to this one. It's got a dog, I'm all ears. What's this?
No, it's just 2 shares.
And if you could just speak into the microphone. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Good evening. So part of what this discussion is I've been looking into the possibility of obtaining either a comfort dog / facility dog for the community since I've been chief. It's been a long process. I've been speaking with the town administrator all along through the process, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think he felt we were at a point where it was a good time to come before the board and the community to let them know that it's something that we're exploring and something we're looking to do. Just to be completely transparent, we're not at the position now where we know completely how we're going to fund this position. We have reached out to local businesses and to see if we have some support, and we do have some support. Nothing that I would want to mention here by name, but we have started that process. And so I think a lot of people are familiar with a comfort dog, what it does, but a facility dog, what is a facility dog? I wasn't completely aware of what a facility dog was until probably 3, 4, 5 months ago. We had a presentation at a chief's meeting, and the facility dog from Watertown came and did a presentation on it. And in layman's terms, to the best of my ability, the difference between a comfort dog and a facility dog is really a facility dog, hence the name would be in a facility, but it's really expanded. And so a facility dog does everything that a comfort dog would do, except it has more, they call it cues, or like tricks or cues, like it can do fist pumps, it can roll over, do hugs and things like that. So it's more, it's higher trained than just a comfort dog. And how it works, it's through Guiding Dogs of America, which is located out in California. It was started over 70 years ago, I believe. And so it's a nonprofit, and how the dogs, they get donations, and the dogs, and they get trained for 6 months to a year in the jail out in California by inmates. It's part of the program. And then after they graduate from that program, the handler will go out to California for 2 weeks to be trained. And it's all of that is free of charge. So there's no charge to the town or the community. So that was one of the reasons that also interested me into transferring from looking at a comfort dog to a facility dog, where it seems like we would get the same service, probably a little bit more, but at a significantly reduced cost. So we wouldn't have to purchase the dog, wouldn't have to purchase any of the training for the dog. That's all free of charge through this Guiding Dogs of America out in California. Of course, there is going to be cost to it, the annual cost for the dog, feeding the dog, upkeep of the dog, medical for the dog. So there are some of that we're working on and we're aware of. We are looking, hopefully to get donations, so there would be little, if any, money coming from town, but we're not at that point yet. So this is more really of an introduction. And do you want to play that 4-minute video?
Sure, yeah.
So we have a 4-minute video that the comfort dog Kyle Rooney from Watertown, it was on their local access station, and he'll do a much better job explaining exactly what his dog does.
I'm just thinking about how the audio is gonna come through. No, this must be audio.
Well, maybe you can kind of narrate as you, and you kind of, sorry to put you on the spot, but.
So, so in that, he's kind of talking about what the dog can do as far as pressure for someone who's stressed out. He's also, that's where he can do fist pumps.
What kind of dog? Does
So that's a lab mix,
lab mix.
but it can be any, not any type, but it's not specifically a lab mix, that just happens to be what he is.
Isn't just a German Shepherd.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And that's where he gives a hug. That's Guide Dogs out in California when he graduated and went out there for the 2 weeks of training. Part of what he talks about is the dog is with him all the time, whether he's working his regular shift, overtime, details. He always has the dog with him. That's where he does pressure on someone to help him calm down. And he talks in there too about a specific domestic violence case that he went to. And the dog gave the victim a hug and she started crying and it just opened up the avenues. But he also talks about how it helps, you know, the officers. I hear something.
It's just coming out of his computer, though.
It's just feedback, it's just an echo.
Oh. So there, he talks about where he can pick up things. So he has, and he can place things. So he has 48 cues is what he calls it, that he can do. And so it's strictly, the dog is fed just strictly by doing the cues each day. And so the idea behind it is, it would be the officer that would be assigned to the dog. That's their comfort dog that they have in Watertown. And they talk about how they commingle and how they interact together to do community events. So, I don't know if there's much more with the video.
Without the audio.
So that's basically what the dog does. So it wouldn't just be, you know, a lot of people think comfort dogs would just be in the schools. It wouldn't be. It would be in the community. It would be at the senior center, be at the fire department, be at the police department, be in the schools, be out at community events. So it would be everywhere to help. And most likely, there's a NEMLAC, Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, which we belong to. There's a STARS team, which is school threat assessment. They would most likely be part of that for a comfort dog to assist with them with any incidents at schools. So I think, and I don't want to put words in the town administrator, but so the idea today was just to present to you that this is something that we're looking at. We have been looking at it for multiple years, and I feel like we're getting closer. I do have some meetings coming up with some local businesses that I was solicited for, that I didn't solicit them, to set up meetings to potentially help fund the program.
We're probably jumping ahead, but it sounds like it's a dedicated officer with a dedicated dog.
Yeah, so it would be, the dog would, we have an officer identified. He actually is one of our school resource officers.
Yeah.
That's interested in the dog, Greg Conley. So the dog would be with him. He would take the dog home, we would live with him.
Okay.
And he would have the dog.
Yeah.
So it would be one officer.
Okay, that was gonna be my next question, where they go overnight, since we're
Yeah,
closed.
so
Yeah.
it would be his, he would have responsibility for the dog, and like you said, he would go to work, he would come to work with him, whether he was working overtime or details, or just his regular shift, like National Night Out, I assume he would be at National Night Out and some of the other events in town, we would want him to be out and about around town, in the schools, where he is a school resource officer, we would have time in the schools.
And they're not being trained to attack.
No, not, the
Yeah.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
So like you
it's
said, they
to be
go,
super nice.
they
yeah.
go through 6 months to 12 months, and not every dog graduates out of the program, so you have to actually graduate out of the program. And then, like you said, it's a 2-week training
Yeah.
that he would have to go out to California to be certified to train before they would give him the dog.
Comments from the board?
I feel better just for watching those videos, so
I
love it.
Maybe we could send everybody the link.
I'll send it, I can circulate the link, yeah.
I actually asked him to come, he's willing to come to a future, he's actually out on paternity leave, and I think he gets back September 12th or somewhere around there. But he told me that he would be more than willing to come to a meeting and bring the dog Wyatt with him, and he could answer a lot more of the questions. So right now, there's not a lot of facility dogs in Massachusetts, but there's one in Watertown, Sudbury, and there's another community that has them.
Mr. O'Leary?
Just, do we have an anticipated cost if we don't have it covered by donations?
I don't
Best-
have,
Best guess, I mean, is it 30,000?
no. I'm guessing maybe 3,000 to 5,000,
All I know is the grand dogs, that bill's a pretty.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was talking to Mrs. Fillmore earlier out in the hallway, and we talked about, because I've always had a dog, and I know she does, and they can be costly. But like I said, we had spoken to some of the local vets, some of the local businesses as far as donations and things like that, or at least discounts on those. And like I said, our goal would be to try to get it totally funded without any cost to the town, but what I've seen is roughly $3,000 to $5,000 a year. And a big cost that we're saving is the purchase of the dog. It's free, and to get it trained.
Ms. Moore?
We don't have a canine officer, right?
No.
Do we need to outfit the cruiser?
Yes.
Or we'll need to do that?
Yeah, so we'd have to outfit a cruiser. And I spoke with our fleet, Mike Mara handles our fleet, so I spoke to him about how we would actually do that. And he did a complete evaluation of our current fleet and where we're at and how we do it. And his recommendation was we have 2 cruisers funded through FY27 budget. He feels it would be best to outfit one of those because it would be new. We'd have to purchase new equipment. You have to buy, obviously, a canine cage for the back. You have to have alarms. So if the car's shut off, for heat emergencies and things like that. So, but the outfitting, he said, would be just about the same as it would be to outfit a regular cruiser. And we could use some of the equipment that we have on the old cruisers to put on, like the light bar and things like that, to save some costs for that. But his recommendation is a facility dog cruiser or a canine cruiser would have less wear and tear than a line cruiser because it's not running 24/7. And where we only have one cruiser, you want it to be the most secure or run the best, because if it goes down and we have to get it repaired, we don't have a backup cruiser that we could use, so the dog would be not out of service, but we couldn't take him. So his recommendation is to get the best would be to use one of the FY27, and he said in his evaluation, it wouldn't affect our current budget. 2 years ago, we had a cruiser get hit, so we got a full replacement through insurance. So having that has kind of put us in a position where he felt this would be a good time to actually transition and use one of the new cars for that.
As far as town insurance and liability, I'm sure that's going to be a question down the road.
So through speaking with the town administrator's assistant, through my insurance, there's no additional cost. It's covered by our policy now, is my understanding. Jen did reach out, and that was probably a year ago, which I would circle back there, but that was the answer that we got from Maya initially.
And then my only other question would be concern for allergies if the dog is in the school system or the senior center. If folks have allergies, they need to know that the dog is in the school.
Yeah.
Obviously, the school has all hard surfaces that are easy to clean, but the senior center has carpet. So if anyone is allergic, I just want to make sure people are both aware and not precluded from coming just because they might have a concern. And I don't know how we would handle that.
So, in full, I haven't spoke to the senior
Okay.
center about that, but I did speak to the schools about it and their policies that they have. They felt that we would be covered by the current policies that they have. And I don't want to speak for the schools because I did speak to the superintendent, and Mrs. Maloney, and they felt like the policies that they have, I think their policy is they have to notify, students that this could be present, they could opt out. But again, I'm not totally versed on their policy, but I did speak with them, and I haven't spoken to the senior center yet.
Right. I think one of the elementary schools had a therapy dog for one of the students a few years back, and from what I heard as a parent, that was incredibly well received, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, there's a dog at school."
I
The
believe
kids
one
were
of the
excited.
principals has one in the
Yeah.
elementary schools.
And if you picked a hypoallergenic dog, at least you're closer to not having that being an issue.
So I think if we were purchasing one through a comfort dog program, that would be a possibility, but from what I'm told from the Guide Dogs of America,
You get
what
what
they
you get.
do
Yeah.
is they won't guarantee what type of dog you're getting because
Ah.
they line up the dog. They want to fit the dog with the handler. So what they explained is they have you walk. So if you walk slow, they put a different dog with you. You walk fast, like so, and then the handler's temperament. So they want to try to match the dog with the
Gotcha.
handler so they fit. So they won't guarantee.
They're not a
what type of
purebred.
dog.
They're not a purebred, right, right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Anybody else? Mr. Massey?
Mr. Chairman, no comments.
Okay. Oh, Mr. O'Leary.
Just timeline, best guess. I mean, you're talking about purchasing cruisers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so I'm hoping to have a meeting by the end of this month with hopefully someone that's looking to donate a significant amount of money. When I say significant, enough to cover the cost of it for a while. So I'm hoping, I don't, maybe by the end of the year, but I don't know if we'd have a cruiser by then. You know what I mean? There's an application. So part of the process too is through Guide Dogs of America, we have to fill out an application because you have to be a nonprofit or a government agency. I haven't got to that process yet because speaking with the town administrator, he felt it was best that I at least come in front of the select board and the community to let you know this is something we're pursuing to see what the feeling was on it before we actually submitted an application to them. So I'm working on it, but
Yeah.
I'm a little hesitant to give an exact time, but it would have to be, we're looking sooner rather than later.
I was gonna say, well, when are we ordering the cruisers? That's,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to.
so we're in the process of, getting our FY 26s outfitted now. And then we would start the process for the 27s as soon as we're ready.
Sounds good. All right.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much, Chief.
And I'm sure I'll be back with updates.
Yep. Okay, we're moving on to the fall annual meeting on October 5th, town meeting warrant articles. So review and discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The deadline for warrant articles was today at 4:00 PM. That does not preclude the select board from adding warrant articles at its discretion between now and September 8th, when you'll be asked to sign the warrant. I was going to just briefly review the articles this evening, ask you for the required votes to refer 3 of the articles to the Community Planning Commission for hearings, which they are already in the process of scheduling. And then I would move to the next step, which is to prepare a draft warrant for your signature at the September 8th meeting. So if it's okay, I'll go through.
Yes.
The first, so I have the articles up on the screen for the benefit of the public and for those in the room here. The first handful of articles are proposed by myself and/or the town's finance director. The first 7 should look very familiar. It's customary transfers that we generally make in prior year bills. I don't have dollar amounts for those. That normally becomes more clear as we go through the closeout process for the previous fiscal year. We know the dollar amounts usually. We know some of them from the beginning of September. We may know most of them for those first 7 articles. And of course, we have prior year bills. And then any reports of officers, boards, or committees. For Article 8, which is also a customary warrant article, we have a deficiency that we are projecting for the town center wastewater treatment plant, for which we will need to identify funding. And then, as we've been talking about for a few years now, we will have, one way or the other, a pay down of the remaining short-term borrowed high school debt. So more to come with regard to that, something we need to be looking at based upon the potential timeline for reimbursement from the MSBA in our final grant amount for closing out the middle high school project. Rescinding authorizations to borrow is obviously for projects for which we no longer need borrowing capacity to take votes to rescind. Amending the fiscal year 2027 capital budget, that has become a customary article we've carried at the October town meeting in the event any action is needed. Number 11, amend the appropriation of funding for continued facilities master planning, something that I expect will possibly be discussed by the site evaluation committee. The intention with that article is basically to provide some more flexibility for the funding that was approved last October, the $150,000 for senior and intergenerational center planning. And the thinking that the Public Works Director, myself, and the Finance Director have is that we've heard some discussion about potential planning that might incorporate this property at some point in time. And if that is going to be the case, the funding is not available for use for planning for the town hall. So what we would suggest is if we think that might be a direction we're going to go in, even if we're not sure, but it might be, expanding the purpose of that $150,000 to include the town hall might open that up as an option for us to explore. And again, I'm not trying to presuppose any outcomes from the site evaluation committee, but it would maximize our flexibility with the use of those funds, because right now we can only use it for purposes of planning the senior center or an intergenerational center. So the thinking there is, again, to broaden the potential use of those funds if the community decides that's what it wants. And I'm sort of putting that out there as something that might be on the horizon to try to allow for planning to continue, because we're going to need funding for planning to continue. And if we're limited to just for the senior center or for an intergenerational center, it might be an obstacle for us to get to where we want to get to. Again, I don't know what direction we're going to go in. I'm not trying to presuppose anything, but I'm also trying to maximize our ability so that people aren't saying we want to do this, that, and the other thing, but we don't have funding to do so. So that's the thinking there. 3A Colonial Hill Drive, the board members may remember that was a board that we were looking at responding to a request for someone to purchase it. It needed to go to town meeting for a vote, so this would be an article seeking authorization from town meeting to convey the property, since it was not tax title foreclosed property. It can't be sold by auction. I'll move on to the articles submitted by boards, departments, commissions, and committees or citizens. The replacement of the modular classrooms at the Hood and Little Schools shouldn't be a surprise to anybody at this point in time. The board took a vote on August 3rd to place a debt exclusion question on the November state ballot. This is the corresponding warrant article, which we are right now projecting to be in the amount of $3.5 million to be borrowed and funded by debt exclusion. Amending the appropriation of money for the fire station renovation to fire station planning and design. We have some remaining, so we have a contract with Vertex and a contract with Tectron, and the Vertex contract, I believe, is the one that's expiring and for which we need funding for planning efforts to continue. What we are proposing here would be for the use of some funding that was previously dedicated to the Park Street Fire Station renovation project, which has kind of been set aside at this point. This would basically take those funds and repurpose them to support the ongoing planning effort for the West Side Station. That's instead of asking for additional funds from what would likely be somewhat stressed free cash number this coming year. I think the total amount we're looking for is $98,000, I heard earlier today. So there might need to be a combination of some of these funds and some supplemental funds, but we're still working through the numbers. But this article is intended to provide funding for continued fire station planning on the west side of town by using funds that were set aside for what is now an on-hold renovation project.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So as far as, I mean, there's still work that needs to be done at the current fire station, to the extent of which it still needs to be determined. So are we planning then on coming back at a subsequent town meeting to replenish those funds for the planning purposes anyway? I mean, that station needs to be renovated, whether it's gonna be a substation or a new headquarters, one way or the other. We have money appropriated to study that and do it. You're looking to shift some of those funds for an expanded purpose for a West Side station.
Correct.
Will we be going back for additional funds then to address the current fire station?
Go ahead, yeah, no, please, yes.
So
Yeah.
the short answer is yes. The longer, more involved answer is the timing for that request, which I think is unknown at this point in time because of the work that's going on with regard to the Fire Station Building Committee, the discussions relative to whether a building would be a headquarters or a satellite station on the west side of town. All of that ties into what the nature and extent of the project to renovate at the Park Street Station is. So I think with that all being unknown, we don't really know what we would be looking for resources. And I think the feeling from the finance director, DPW director, and I was, that's something that can certainly be revisited at the time that the town wants to. But in the meantime, we have funds that are tied up for this purpose for an effort that really is not being pursued at this point.
Okay, oh, Mr. Leary.
Yeah, I guess my point is we can't abandon the current station that we have, and we can't ignore the current condition of the station that we have. So while it may be on hold as to exactly what we're gonna be doing there, I mean, we spent $1 million so far on plans for the current fire station, and then the course has been changed, where we're now looking to expand out to the west side of town. And to me, that's a separate project. I understand that the scope of the current fire station status is in a state of flux right now, but the money's appropriated to finish that planning. I guess my consternation is that here we are, we're just shifting funds around knowing full well that we're gonna have to come back and get money to finish the job at the current fire station. I don't want to abandon that project and have to say, okay, now we have to come back and appropriate funds to finalize the plans on that. I don't know how much money is left that you're looking to shift. If by chance that we're talking about a new headquarters on the west side of town, and this would become a substation, are there sufficient funds to finish the planning now appropriated to do that? My guess is, having spent $1 million here, there probably isn't sufficient funds necessarily to complete. We have plans to complete a headquarters at the current location. Are the funds that are left sufficient to finalize that plan? And if you're looking to shift, and again, I don't know what portion of what's left you're looking to shift here. To me, I'd like to keep several, if we're looking about a west side station, west side fire station, the community's gonna buy into this program. That's the new program. That's what we're buying into here. We're not abandoning the current fire station, the need to address its current condition. So, I'm just
Mr.
skeptical, of what we're looking to do. We're playing a little shell game here, when we know we have to come back and finish and complete something at the current station. So why don't we just go for the appropriation that we need for the west side station, get some more money to study that, and again, the community's gonna make the final decision as to whether or not we're gonna build a substation, a headquarters, or anything on the west side. They've already decided to plan and pay for plans for the current station. The money's already there. I'm just concerned that we're gonna be shifting the funds out and we're gonna be short on both ends here, and keep going back to the community. Let's not confuse the issue. Either we want a west side station or we don't. Is it gonna be a substation or a headquarters? We have a current station that needs renovation and updating. Either it's gonna be a headquarters or a substation, and the money's already been appropriated for those planning purposes, so.
Chairman,
Does that make sense?
No,
Hold on one second,
it's
Mr. Massey, I see
confusing.
you.
Yeah, okay.
You good?
For now.
Michael, do you want to comment what you just said?
Yeah, I mean, only that there really isn't, I mean, the focus has, I think, been to determine what we're gonna do on the west side of town and to what extent we're gonna do construction and to, then what does that leave for a need on the Park Street facility. There's no doubt that there will be funding that will be needed for it. I just think that the finance director and I looked at it and said, what that project is in, most likely in any scenario, not the full project that was looked at and contemplated 2 years ago of a renovation and expansion. Certainly could be a renovation, and there's valuable information that we've gotten from the planning for that renovation and expansion, but the planning effort right now is really focused on the west side site first. If we want to leave the funding in place for a future project that's really undetermined at this point, we certainly have the ability to. I would defer to the finance director in terms of showing us what that's going to mean in terms of free cash. For particularly as we look at toward the June town meeting. I think that was kind of her primary concern. She's unable to be here this evening, but in any scenario, to do what's being asked, we would need another article that would it would be a set aside, standalone article appropriating funding for a West Side station. So, and we can do that. Again, notwithstanding determining how much money we have in free cash to do these things, but that's certainly an option that we could look at as an alternative.
Mr. Massey?
yeah, Mr. Chairman, and, as far as, excuse me, I'm trying to put my hand down. As far as where that money comes from, I mean, Mike talked about, what, $96,000 and said that it needs to be supplemented, so we're not talking about major amount of money that must be left here, but, let's always remember that it's always sort of tied in. We are not abandoning any sort of, there is no abandonment in the existing station. We understand that we need to come back, but that was kind of always the purpose, to build that station on the west side of town and get people over there so we're able to renovate the existing station. But we don't know if we're picking if we're going forward with a headquarters or a substation. And to be honest, that ends up being a select board decision. If we can put that on the agenda, today we received we've all received, the board received all the test fits of all the different sites and different headquarters and substations on different sites. So let's talk it through, what works for us, but at the end of the day, we do need land, and that really is, since I've been saying since the beginning, is going to be the bottleneck of the project. You need the land to be able to move forward. Now, if there's a direction by the select board to change directions, that's the select board's direction. We're advisory, but as far as I'm concerned, there's no abandonment. We are definitely still considering it, but it's just part of the programming, and we need to obtain that land to be able to open up the project so we can get moving.
So, sounds like this requires a little extra thought. Oh, sorry, Mr. O'Leary, go ahead.
There's no disagreement in relation to the need and the direction we're going in. My question is in relation to the appropriation of funds for the two intended purposes. And again, public safety is the one purpose here, and making sure the fire department can respond in an appropriate amount, appropriate time, and from a public safety standpoint, and then the West Side Station provides that solution. But what town meeting was asked, a few years back here was not that. And now we've moved forward at the last town meeting to get authorization from town meeting to go and take a look at some sites here, to look at the West Side Station and what the costs are gonna be and all the rest. To me, those should be two separate appropriations. And again, I don't know what's left in the funds that have already been appropriated. And depending upon what the final plan is going to be, I don't want to have to keep coming back to the community and confusing them with the current station, the West Side Station. We already went to them for the current station, got money appropriated to do the planning for that. That's in place. We're now approaching them and have approached them on doing something on the west side of town as part of the solution to make sure that our time constraints that the fire department has to get to people on the west side of town on a more timely basis, and the safety factors associated with that. That's a separate issue. And we presented them as two separate issues at this point. I'm not looking to shift the monies around and rob Peter to pay Paul when I know right now we're probably going to be short on whatever we do with the current renovation of the fire station, based upon the funding that we already have. So leave that in place, so that at least that can be completed at some point, depending upon what happens on the west side station. Because otherwise, we're gonna come back, if the west side station fails a town meeting, or an override, or whatever it's gonna be, we still have to deal with it and have to come back again to town meeting and reappropriate the money, or find some more funds to finish the original project. So, to me, if we're looking to get funding to deal with the west side fire station, let's do it separately and distinctly. Hold the other one that's in abeyance, and I understand the cash flow issue as far as the free cash and all the rest, but again, I don't know right now, and I don't know if you can inform us as to how much funding is left for the project that's already been appropriated for. Because that makes a difference as to whether or not what you're looking to transfer over to continue the work on west side would still allow us to have enough funding left to complete the planning for the current station. So,
Mr. Chairman,
Yep. Yes, Mr. Massey.
I'm impartial on who pays this bill. I mean, if we're talking about let's just call it $45,000 to $60,000 as an approximate of what's coming out of there, what's left. And Mr. Gilberto mentioned we have to supplement it, so let's just call it half to 3/4, right? I mean, what would be of the Park Street renovation fire station project would be over $10 million. So what are we talking about with $45,000? This relieves us at the moment, and at the same time, it is part of the programming to the whole project itself. West Side Fire Station needs to understand what is going in there to be able to know what the Park Street fire station is going to entail, what the programming would be in the existing station. So there are some shoes to drop on our side that we need to get to. So
Okay. Thank you. Michael?
So I'll make a suggestion that we add a standalone article right behind this article, and we can have the DPW director, the finance director here to just go through the numbers and make a decision, or decide to put them both on, and maybe one of them gets passed over, or maybe we rely on both of them. But
Yeah, I think that's,
there's no harm, to leave them both in play at this point in time.
yeah.
And I certainly understand the concern that, that a west side station isn't a done deal. So, and that is certainly a reason to be concerned about not giving away any needed money for a renovation at Park Street. I certainly respect that.
Good.
yeah, so
Mr. Lee?
that's fine. I'm fine with putting another one. These are both placeholders for
Yeah,
right now.
right.
So I concur, have one on there for standalone, and then the board will decide which one
Makes sense. Yeah, or which one?
stands and falls.
Yeah.
Okay,
Does it?
that's fine. So, yeah, put the other one on there.
Thank you. It's a good discussion
I
point.
think it makes sense at this point.
Yeah.
Again, we'll drill down
Yeah.
in the next few weeks.
Great. Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure. Just continuing along, this is relative to the Hillview. The bids have come in pretty favorable with regard to the demolition of the function facility. And I think that the commission is looking to try to fund the demolition without having to utilize the borrowing portion of the appropriation. So I believe it was a $500,000 for retained earnings and $500,000 to be borrowed to fund the demolition. They're looking at a total project need of about $750,000, so I think their hope is to be able to increase the 500 to 750 and not have to borrow at all, so they'd be using retained earnings. So this is an adjustment to previous authorization. It's not an increase in the bottom line, but it could be a shift of how a project is funded for, and again, all of it being funded using enterprise revenues, either for retained earnings or for debt service. And I did have a meeting on Wednesday to further discuss exactly what they're looking to do and finalize it, if I heard that correctly. Number 16, this is purely a placeholder. It's a potential article that could or could not be forthcoming relative to 3 Washington Street. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. We've been planning with regard to the property, and there's a very important meeting of the committee on Thursday of this week where we'll know more. But certainly we don't want to lose sight that if this is going to go forward, we would need an article at town meeting in order to get the authority and the appropriation to acquire the property, excuse me. I put in the packet a copy of a draft demolition delay bylaw that has been prepared by the Historical Commission. That's something that they have been working on and off for at least 15 years, I'm told, and probably longer than that. And this is the most recent draft of it that they submitted for your for town meeting's consideration, modeled on, I think, some bylaws from other communities. And for those who don't know, it basically would take property that might be either publicly or privately owned and might be recognized as historical at the state level, or possibly by designation by the Historic Commission. And if somebody were to come in with a request for an application to demolish the property, it would require a delay in issuing that and a review period, and that usually involves an effort to see if somebody else is interested in purchasing it. So I'd urge you to take a look at the language that was in the packet if you haven't already. Certainly not at any spot looking to make a recommendation tonight on that article. But it does come up. We have historic homes. I say historic with the lowercase h. Older homes here in town that go back hundreds of years, and every once in a while a permit shows up to demolish one of them and build something in its place. And people look to the building inspector to say, what are you going to do to help us? And he has to say, I really can't do anything. I have to issue the permit. This bylaw would create a checkpoint in that process at the request of the Historical Commission prior to permits being issued for demolition.
Okay, I see Mr. Massey has his hand up.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. There was a section I was reading about this one earlier that said basically if you adjust the historical portion of a building, then you need to wait 2 years before you can pull another permit restriction on the premises. So like, I'm just thinking, for example, if someone demos the end of their house and they want to replace their toilet on the farthest end of their house, they got to pull a permit. So that one seemed a little, there's a couple items in here I just want the board to pay attention. Just sounds a little bit strict. Even the $300 violation, I would even say step that up. But is there going to be a hearing or a potential to discuss this, or is this been voted on?
It was submitted by the Historical Commission. We could certainly invite them to come in and provide feedback if you want to provide them direction. I believe it's to Massey, you're the liaison. You could certainly provide the direction back to them if there's a specific concern that either you or the board members have, and they may wish to alter their submission, or they may not. But whatever we have on September 8th will obviously need to be printed in the warrant. It could be amended by a motion on the floor as long as that amendment is within the four corners of the article itself. But if you want what's in the warrant to change, the time is now to talk with the Historical Commission.
You okay with that, Mr. Massey?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling back up here.
It's about 18.
The next 6 articles are submitted by the Bylaw Review Committee, and I basically, they just passed through from what was done by the committee, submitted to me. They are not yet reviewed by Town Council. They came in as 6 articles. I talked with the Public Services Director today, and we are scheduled to meet with Town Council, I believe, on Tuesday of next week. The goal is to try to consolidate those articles into 3 articles. We're not looking certainly to stop debate on any of them, but there are a number of things in there that I think are fairly common sense changes that could be bundled together. There are things that are a little bit more substantive that we might want to have discussion about, including repealing a bylaw. And then there's obviously some fines that need to be adjusted as well. So you have from the report on July 20th and now from this draft, you kind of know and you've seen what they're looking at for things to be brought forward. And I think we're talking about bringing all of it forward to town meeting, but we're still working through the formatting of that and what that might look like. We're really trying to avoid throwing 40 pages of warrant articles to the resident and overwhelming them with them. We certainly can have a red line version available on the website for people to look at, but we do need to print in the warrant what's changing somehow. So there's still some work to be done, but that is the totality of what we're looking at, those 6 warrant articles. Okay. There were 2 zoning bylaw amendments submitted by the Community Planning Commission. One relative to the table of principal uses, which aligns the table for the requirements for special permits to more closely reflect the Dover Amendment and what we are required to allow regardless of zoning under state law. There is a site plan review provision that remains in place, and we're actually going through it right now with that Dover protected use off of Elm Street, but there is a site plan review that's happening. This would adjust the table of uses to reflect what's required by state law under the Dover Amendment. For those who don't know what the Dover Amendment is, that's a state law that supersedes local zoning and allows for religious or educational use to take place in any zoning district. Again, with the qualification that site plan review is still allowed, and that is what would happen if this were to go through. The moratorium on data centers, so you may have seen some of the things in the news. This would basically put a temporary moratorium on any construction of a data storage center here in North Reading. Not necessarily aware of any specific proposal or request to do so, but certainly want to be clear that we're working through a potential zoning bylaw amendment at a future town meeting that would regulate this. So my understanding is this would be a moratorium, temporary moratorium, in advance of another bylaw that would further regulate. I do see a hand.
Or, Mr. Chairman, is the CPC through, is the CPC going to be having a hearing on?
They will. Both of these articles will have hearing, I believe, on Tuesday, September 15th. After the board votes to refer them to them, obviously, but that's a procedural action at this point. But there will be public hearings that will be held.
As there will be here.
Thank you.
What's that?
As there will be here. And
there will be a warrant article hearing here. It'll be very shortly thereafter. September 21st, I think, is what we're looking at for the date. We received 2 citizens petitions. One is a zoning bylaw amendment that would remove a property on Patley Road from the Affordable Housing Overlay District. And the second would put a restriction on the office of town moderator that it appears the intention is to prohibit the moderator from holding any other town office, employed, elected, or appointed. Because the first citizens petition is a zoning bylaw amendment, you'll also be asked to refer that to the Planning Commission for a hearing as well.
Okay. Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just I communicated with the town administrator earlier today too regarding property on Central Street.
Oh, yes.
That was recently acquired by the town. We should have an article to appropriate money to demolish
Oh, the building.
premises. Because it does not, the structure itself would not serve any useful public purpose at this point, but the land does.
Right.
And could and will. And again, just having the structure there right now unutilized, and I did have the opportunity to go through the structure with the town administrator and other facility personnel just a few weeks ago, and I can't personally see any useful public purpose for it at this particular time, and having it lie there dormant.
You mean the building itself?
The building itself,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the home itself. Great piece of land. There will be a
I'll just
significant
ask the
use at some
question.
point for the town, but
Is it a better building than what the Parks and Rec has right next door?
no,
No, okay.
hardly.
What's that?
I said hardly, no, the other one's
Yeah,
much
okay.
better.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it,
Yeah.
might be a better substitute, yeah.
And I brought this up a year ago because I think that, we need to make a determination relative to the building and what our intentions are for it. I know that there's different opinions with regard to the building. We did have the opportunity to walk through it about 4 weeks ago when we were over in that area with the facility superintendent, and it certainly is not in any better condition than when we acquired it. And I would say to those who are interested in preserving the building for one way or the other, then we need to appropriate funding to explore that. So I think we just got to make a determination one way or the other, because we are carrying it. We do pay a vacant building insurance policy on it in order to maintain coverage on for liability purposes. I think we all feel that the value of the property is in the land, and it's being adjacent to what is already town-owned land.
Yeah. Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Did you
my
have your hand
question was about the cost of carrying the property, but you just covered that.
Yeah, there is a cost. It doesn't get covered under a blanket insurance policy. We have to pay for a separate policy. It's a few $1,000s that we're paying for it each year. So.
Okay, so I see we have a vote to refer zoning bylaw amendments to Community Planning Commission. Is that?
So, excuse me, are we going to be putting an article on the warrant?
Yeah,
The administration going to be recommending that?
I took a note. I would recommend it. And again, if it's not going to be that, it should be, then what are we going to use the building for? And let's better explore that. But, I just would tell you from my standpoint, I'm not comfortable sending employees in there to be working or other than maybe knocking it down.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But, and even for storage, I worry a bit about people going in and out of the building. But
It's not good to leave a building empty. It's never good.
So, Michael, would you be looking for a consensus from the board to put an article?
yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
or that or the other end of it.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, yeah.
So what would you like us to?
I mean, if the consensus is, if people are on board with, hey, we're ready to move on from the building, then I would put an article on. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I mean, do we need a vote, or we are
No,
just?
we don't need a vote. I just,
Okay, go ahead.
So the recommendation from the superintendent of facilities is that the building be demolished?
I think he failed. I think he was struggling to see what the utilization would be for a public purpose without some work on it. We could certainly, we talked about, cleaning it up, but is it, now we're talking about fire code issues and things like that. So I think he could make it look nice. I don't think that's an issue.
No, that's
I
not,
think,
no.
I think the issue is more like life safety things and things like that.
So without
So you're good, yeah.
substantial renovations to bring it up to code for public use, we can't really use the building.
I don't think we saw the value.
Okay.
I don't want to say it couldn't be done, it just, and again, if we want to pursue that for the size of the facility, we certainly can. I'm just not
No.
sure that I would recommend
It's
that.
not worth it.
What
Well,
building
then-
is this specifically?
It's a house on Central Street, number 1
On
Central
Central.
Street.
Oh, thank you.
It's next to the recreation center, which is
Okay.
5 Central Street.
Anything? And so, Nick, please?
Mr. Chairman, I definitely agree with Mr. Larry. Not a bad idea to put it on town meeting. If there's even any potential to include within that is any use for it, and I mean even a parking lot. I'm not sure how much, and maybe Rich, you might know more, but how much IRP gets used where the parking's that big to need an overflow lot, and that might be. I know some events, they have the detail out there, and so I didn't know if there was that's probably the cheapest option to put there rather than just a pilot or a flat
Yeah.
piece of land.
Well, that can be something in the future, we can think
Yeah,
through.
I mean, I think that's a great suggestion. I mean, certainly there are times when parking is an issue over there. So, what it would end up amounting to, and again, there's wetland in the back of it too that we've got to be cognizant of.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
It would be at least some level of clearing of the property, that could be utilized for that purpose. They are doing work with regard to access later this summer, I believe, right? There's a plan for paving a driveway loop. Discussion. Discussion and appropriation.
All right.
Maybe not agreement.
Well, I think we're looking at 173
Do you
Yeah.
want to, right, do you want to come up so that we can hear you? Sorry to make you stand up.
Warren actually had a good suggestion, probably could move the school buses there instead of,
Oh, that's interesting.
because it's not parkland.
Well, I believe the
Yes.
site committee will be looking at, again, an option is the 1 Central Street. It could, it's half an acre, but it could be a potential, it's on that list of potentials for community senior center and a senior center, with a space probably more just for senior center, but it'll be thrown in that category, so I think as opposed to taking it down now, I don't think it should happen until we make a decision on which way we're going to go, and some of the suggestions would come from the site committee evaluation. If it does, that may be some of the funds that you use to take that building down if you're going to put something else in there. So I think it's one of those ones kind of hang in for a few months, and we'll know more on the site committee when we start to come up with some things before we maybe talk about taking it down. And there are still other things that that half acre is beside the recreation land. So again, there's a lot of what ifs, even the same with the parking, the paving. So there's still some questions, a lot of what ifs. So I think we'll find out a lot more in the next few months. So
Okay.
it's just my suggestion.
All right, Michael. Yes.
Just through you, Mr. Chairman, when you talk about the LUC looking at that property, are you thinking that the house would serve?
No, not at all. The house would still at some point come down.
Okay.
As opposed to taking it down and do anything yet, I think we've got some suggestions that would probably come up under the site committee, that we're talking about different parcels. So I would think that it doesn't need to be on this October one.
Go ahead, Michael. Yeah.
I'll just, oh, sorry. I know Catherine had her hand up before I did. so.
Oh, go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, I was just going to suggest if we have the article in October meeting and the site committee decides other uses are more prevalent, we can just pass over the article. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also feel very confident saying we can rip it down, but we don't have to decide what we're going to do with
Right,
it. Yeah.
there's no suggestion we're going to say fix it up and do anything with it now.
Right.
But I'm saying we've got we've got an awful lot of moving parts. And I'm saying the next, especially where a lot of people have suggested we want it, and it's there. I think that if you tear it down, it kind of creates a lot more commotion about you paid for it, now you're tearing it down. I think if you can tie this into all the recommendations that are going to be made, then it would make sense to hear it come. So,
All right.
Perception and public thoughts.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Thank you, Rita. Yes. Ms.
Yeah,
Lillard.
I think we should have a warrant article for the demolition of the structure. I mean, we're paying unnecessarily for vacant building insurance. The property needs significant work to be utilized for any purpose. When we purchased the property, it wasn't for the structure itself for municipal purposes, it was the land, the proximity of the land and where it was, not necessarily the structure itself. And if you go through the property, and I would encourage my colleagues to do that, you will see that there's no useful public purpose for it, for the structure itself. There's a significant purpose for owning the land
Mhm.
and having access to Driven Park and other future potential uses for other purposes. But it's not the structure itself, and the structure is a hazard. You know, we're paying insurance on something that we're never gonna use. So we should remove it, and then we'll have the land available, whatever the plan is gonna be. But remove the impediment right now,
Yeah.
instead of having it be a time delay and continue to pay insurance on it unnecessarily. So,
All
I
right.
think we should have an article.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Yeah.
At the risk of talking out of both sides of my mouth, I'm just going to be honest. So first, one of the regrets I have is not suggesting that we appropriate the funds to demolish the building at the time we acquired it, because I didn't see any potential future use. I'm just being honest with everybody.
Count me in on that same.
So that's a regret. And secondly, though, I don't see a use for the property. I think we all acknowledge that, and I think that the money we're spending to insure this vacant building, and any other, associated time in mowing the lawn and whatever else is not necessarily, well expended, given that we have no plan for it. But my hope is that the community all gets on the same page with regard to planning for a senior or intergenerational center, and it's not critical to me that it happen now if that's going to disrupt what I hope is an exercise in us all getting on the same page. I'm just being honest. I mean, I know there were hard feelings coming out of last October's town meeting, we're trying to all move past that into site evaluation. We have a committee that is not, if not looking at Three Washington, will look at something else. And I don't want to disrupt that momentum of us coming together, working together unnecessarily by taking the building down. That's my just honest
Okay,
response.
that's fair. Yes, Ms. Moore?
So in order to demolish this building, if we were to pursue that, do we have to advertise it, put it in an RFP for demolition work, or does the DPW director get an informal, is there a bureaucratic process that leads to that, and how long does that take, and what's the cost?
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So the normal way you would do it would be to advertise like Hillview is doing, although to a much smaller scale. But you would remediate any hazardous materials, you advertise for somebody to come in and, demolish the property. I've already heard from the DPW that they may have the resources to be able to do a lot of that work for us. Whether we make a decision based upon staffing, et cetera, actually do that or not is unknown. But yes, it would be that, but I don't want to take off the table a less expensive alternative that I still think would require an appropriation of funds in order to get it done, and should be voted on by town meeting because it is a town building, and we don't want to just knock the building down, if we don't, unless there's some immediate reason to. So maybe.
The building currently is secured, no one's
It is. It's secure.
trespassing on it.
Not to our knowledge. I don't have any
All right.
information. The building's locked.
Not yet.
It's fairly watertight. So.
Okay. I guess the amount we're paying in insurance versus the cost to demolish it would be,
It's
until
probably
we
gonna
figure
cost
out what
us-
to do with the land,
It's
right?
probably going to cost us more, and don't get me wrong, every dollar counts. It does. But I also think that, I could see the point of once the building comes down, then the next question is going to be what's going there. And if we're not ready to answer that question, I could see that being a distraction. But more importantly, there's a lot of effort that's being done here by the select board, by individual members, within and individually outside of the meetings to try to work toward achieving progress in the senior and intergenerational center effort. There's a lot of work being done by the site evaluation committee, a lot of work being done by the LUC over the past few months. And I don't want, to me, it's not worth the flashpoint of dividing the community if we're just not ready yet. That's my personal, response. Again, this is coming from the guy who thinks it should have been knocked down 3 years ago. So,
But it's not at a point where it must be knocked down because it's a public safety issue.
to me, as I said earlier, this is more about, hey, I hear a lot from people, the town has all this land, what's it doing with it? It's one of those similar things. The building's there, we have no intention of using the building. At some point, the building needs to come down. It wouldn't be uncommon for it to come down as part of a larger construction project on that site, either for parking, or for expansion of Ipswich River Park, or for constructing a senior intergenerational center. That's usually when you see those types of things happening. It's happening in Reading right now behind the Kiln School, right? But, again, I'm bringing it up because I brought it up a year ago. This is something we should be thinking about. We didn't ultimately put a warrant article on because we had a lot going on at that town meeting, and I think that made sense. And I'm only saying that, I don't know that it's worth dividing the community over either. Even if we're not sure, what the correct is. So anyway,
Fair enough.
Mr. Chairman, the fence is worth more than the house.
The what is?
The fence is worth more than the house at this point for the town.
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
This must be a dated photo, because if this is the house in question?
Yes.
Oh, well, it looks like a perfectly good house in this photo. This must be very old.
No.
Okay. No, is it it's not a perfectly nice house, or no, it's not a very old photo?
No, that's a real photo. It's not a perfectly good house, and I would suggest that you arrange
Go
a
visit.
tour. And you'll come to a very quick conclusion.
it could easily be made available for housing purposes with a renovation. The issue is, I don't think we're prepared to sell the land. I don't think we're interested in having tenants. So it becomes difficult to decide what are we going to actually do with it for that purpose. But to Mr. Tyler, to the point, it could easily, it was a home not far before when we bought it, right? Months, if that.
Yeah.
So you are right, it's, definitely close to being a habitable house, but for our municipal purposes, I don't see.
And I was not insinuating anything more. I was just making the comment that this is probably an old Google Street photo or something.
No, it looks good when you drive by.
All right.
Okay, the town has done a good job, DPW has done a good job, Parks and Rec, of
Yeah.
maintaining the facade of the facility.
preventing complaints from coming to you about its condition.
Correct.
That's basically what we've been trying to do, right?
They've done an excellent job.
All right. Are we ready to vote on, to refer zoning bylaw amendment
So are you putting one on or are you not?
to CPC?
Are you
I'm
gonna
sorry.
Put it on to have us,
I have a note to put it on, but I wouldn't, my suggestion is if it's gonna become an issue, a divisive issue, it may not be worth it.
I don't see it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, to all your points, I thought that when purchasing the land, that was, and I was on the board at that time, but I thought it was pretty communicated that the plan was to knock the house down and repurpose it. But a lot of great comments, you know, a lot of great points to say, you know, probably, whether it's time now or time later, it's time to do something with that property, and I think flattening it and putting it to use is the best thing possible.
Well, I'm suggesting that we leave the option on it the way it is, and that we can always change our mind.
Okay.
Sound okay?
Okay.
Sound okay? All right. I think that's fair enough. And the concerns are understood. Okay, now can we vote to refer the zoning bylaw amendment to Community Planning Commission?
Mr. Chairman, I move to refer the following zoning bylaw amendments to the Community Planning Commission for public hearings. Amend code zoning bylaws, table of principal uses. Amend code zoning bylaws, temporary moratorium on data centers.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tyler, second by Ms. Moran. Any discussion? So this addresses the two
Two of the
articles
three.
that were on there, 2 of the 3. And so we're just saying we want to have a part, we want to have a part in what happens.
It's a statutory requirement to refer the petition that's been submitted to you to the planning commission for a hearing, which is required under state law.
Okay,
It just so happens that for one of them, 2 of them, they are the sponsor.
okay. So we're not,
Anybody can sponsor a zoning bylaw amendment.
so we're not voting to agree to it, we're just voting to...
You're just referring, it's simply
Just refer.
procedural.
Okay, so everybody knows what it is? That's all we're saying is we're referring. Any other discussion? Yep.
Is our colleague going to be recusing himself on one of these?
There's a separate motion.
There's a separate motion, great. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. O'Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Tyler,
Aye.
Mr. Massey,
Yes?
and chair is yes.
We're modernizing the board.
Mrs. Moran had a comment earlier as to, we say aye and nay.
It just
She's
seems
asking,
so
why do we
archaic.
do aye and nay instead of yes or no?
Yeah, it's a good question.
You know, I
Because it
said
follows
tradition.
parliamentary
Parliamentary
procedure.
tradition. So I said, I informed her, she
In the-
didn't have to say aye, she could say yes, and she could say no.
In the hybrid version, when you say aye and nay, sometimes they sound the same. I think yes
Well, that's
and
why I
no
was
is
getting a
lot
little
clearer.
confused,
You
yeah.
have to
I was
ask
getting a little
for
confused.
clarification.
If you ever want to say yes and no, it's no
I'm
problem.
going to say yes.
You need to
Or
just
no.
really, you need to really put that Irish tilt on it. Aye.
All right, is there another, are we on the public
There's
comment?
a second motion.
Okay, second motion, all right.
Mr. Chairman, I move to refer the following zoning bylaw amendments to the Community Planning Commission for public hearings. Amend code zoning bylaws, affordable housing overlay district.
Okay,
A second.
motion by Mr. Tyler, second by Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, please.
I'm going to be recusing myself as I am in a butter.
Okay,
Thank you.
so can you give some color to this, please, Mr. Roberto?
Also, excuse me,
So-
Mr. Massey, you're a butter, but you're also a sponsor of the article. It should be noted that you're the sponsor of the article and in a butter.
Yeah,
Correct, but per previous select board practices, Mr. O'Leary has created his own citizens petition and voted on the article, so while I'm not going to vote on the article, I didn't think it was necessary to explain that.
okay. Well, everybody knows it now anyway, so, okay, so, Mr. Gilberto, can you provide some color to this?
Same issue. It's a zoning bylaw amendment. The sponsor is not the Community Planning Commission. It's a group of petitioners. Under state law, it needs to be referred to the Planning Commission for a hearing, which will be held the same night as for the other two. Simply proceeding.
Okay. And if we say no, what happens?
I think you're not fulfilling your obligation under the zoning act to
Okay.
refer.
All right.
And
So we're,
you have plenty of opportunity to express an opinion one way or the other with regard to your recommendation, and certainly your votes to recommend. I mean, I would say to you that you're it was submitted timely, it had the requisite number of signatures, so I would say to you, as I would for any other citizen petition, I don't think there's an ability to prevent it from going on the warrant, but you do continue to have the ability to offer a recommendation.
okay. All right. So we're, at this point, just referring to CPC?
Correct.
As to have their hearing. Okay. Any question about that from my three colleagues plus me? I almost counted myself. Okay, Catherine?
Yes.
Mr. O'Leary?
Yes.
Mr. Tyler?
All right.
Chair is yes.
And Mr. Massey is recused.
Is
He's a
recused.
holdout for the tradition.
All right, Mr. Massey, you can come back now, please. Okay, moving on to public comment.
For those who are attending electronically, if you could please use the raise hand function if you have any comments.
Don't see anything. Okay, I think we can move on then.
Not seeing any.
Okay, so we're going on to board member reports.
Mr. Chairman, could I just give a brief?
Sure, yes, about what's
preview?
happening here.
So, looks a little different than it has on the agenda. I want
Yeah.
to, we're doing our best to try to maintain the board's tradition of providing a variety of updates to the greatest extent compliant with the open meeting law. And so we sort of talked about the things that you all normally comment about and came up with these 4 categories as a starting point. And for future meetings, if there's something that you wish to add that doesn't fit neatly into one of those categories, certainly let the chair and I know. We could talk about adding it onto an agenda. Alternatively, you could bring up any item that you wish to see as an agenda item for a future meeting later on under new business, item 13. You'll note that the word old business is no longer on there, and that's per the recommendation of town council based upon previous opinions from the attorney general. We've been really good. We're not getting into these discussions about things that were old business anyway. That's not our practice. So this just, I think, more currently aligns things with what we're doing anyway with regard to new business.
And on number 13, you make a double asterisk note here that, people can bring it up, but we're not going to deliberate at this time.
Correct.
And the only question is, does it end up on a future agenda?
Correct.
Okay, so that's the main thrust of that. All right, so let's try it out. Board member reports. Catherine, any of the 5 or all 4 categories? Sorry, excuse me.
I do not have a lot to report. The site evaluation committee is meeting on Thursday to select the officers and to continue the discussion.
Great, thank you. Mr. O'Leary?
Just an update on Hillview. As most people are aware, the town meeting voted to demolish the Hillview Function Hall structure itself, which houses the Hillview Commission's office also. The tenant, Ultrasheet, has vacated the premises, which was good through, I believe, the first week of August, or maybe August 12th or something of that nature. As Mr. Gilberto indicated earlier in discussion on other warrant articles, the Hillview Commission is recommending an article to reduce the amount of funding that are going to be needed for the demolition, and the town administrator has recently signed off on the award letter for a contractor to do the demolition of the structure. Came in substantially less, about $395,000 or $400,000, which is great. So they're moving forward with the award walkthrough, and then ultimately the demolition. The timeline associated with that, I'll let the board know as soon as it's been awarded and it's been scheduled. In addition to that, the commission would like the board to know that the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that are in the structure itself right now are actually going to be auctioned off. Engaged in services of an auctioneer, and it's going to be, I've got to write down the dates here, but it's going to be Thursday, 20-something or other, yeah. I haven't got the calendar in front of me. Whatever that Thursday date is.
Is it the 27th?
Huh?
The 27th, is that right? Or is it sooner?
This is the week before.
The 20th, so that's this Thursday.
20th.
Okay, so the 20th, and then on Thursday, and then close on the following Tuesday, I believe. So anyway, engage the services of an auctioneer. Services cost will not exceed $999. And the commission will be based upon a percentage of the sale not to exceed that amount. So we've done some advertising in the transcript, advertising in the Boston Herald on the auctioneer's website. So that's going to be taking place shortly. And then once the demolition is scheduled, the commission has been working to move the building commission office down to the enterprise property that's on the recreation site on Central Street. I've been working closely with Parks and Rec and Public Works to accommodate that move. And I'll bring you all up to date as soon as all those dates are finalized. Other than that, nothing else, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. O'Leary. Mr. Tyler.
I've been working with Rob Carbone and Dave Doucette for Cable Advisory, and also we've traded some emails about the need to potentially at least look at getting some sort of contract in place with NORCAM. Obviously funding and monies might be a separate issue, so maybe more to come on that in due course. Also met with the sustainability. They had their first meeting since taking that liaison assignment. Nothing too significant. They are planning to do their Fix-It Fair again, I think in the near future, I think in the fall. The last one they had was a success, so they're working on securing the space in the library for the next one. Some more details on that. There was some discussion and questions on the status of our water restriction. We had voted back in May, I think on a level 3. We're not out of drought by any stretch, but the good news is I think Massachusetts as a whole has made some dents this summer with a bit more rainfall than last couple summers. So just something that was out there. I mean to reach out to Matt Prince anyway, so I was going to ask him if there's any updates on that and how that goes. I think the Sustainability Committee is just looking to be a bit more active, at least using their socials or maybe using the media to just advise people, not necessarily go out on the beat and try to hold people account for watering their lawns or washing their cars or whatnot, but they'd like to at least be a bit more active in promoting and reminding people when there are water restrictions in place and when they're being lifted. So that's all I had between those two this week.
Okay. Mr. Massey?
No, Mr. Chairman, one thing is we had the Purple Heart ceremony last Friday at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. Yes. And I want to thank Mr. Tyler for coming as well. 3 Purple Heart recipients. Another great ceremony put on by the Veterans Events Committee, a group of great volunteers. So that's all I have. As far as Fire Station Building Committee, for new business, I'll bring something up, maybe just for us to further discuss, to Mr. O'Leary's point, further discuss a little bit what we're looking for.
Okay, great. And I have nothing. So let's move on to Town Administrator.
Just what
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
This National Night Out was, again,
Oh,
terrific success.
yeah.
The weather cooperated. We moved the select board's table out of the sun and into the shade, which was greatly appreciated. Sustainability, having a great setup there along with everybody else. And it was just a great night. I mean, hundreds of people showed up. And it was a tremendous success. A lot of effort goes into putting it together.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great night. So.
Good. Good. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay, Mr. Gilberto.
Thank you. I have a fairly lengthy report, so if everyone could bear with me. There will be a one-day so for upcoming events, there will be a one-day trash, one-day delay for trash and recycling collection the week of Labor Day, which is Monday, September 7th. As I mentioned, the next regular board meeting is Tuesday, September 8th, where the board will be asked to sign the fall annual town meeting warrant, and October town meeting is October 5th. Household Hazardous Waste Day is on Saturday, October 17th, and there's additional information on the Recycling and Solid Waste Committee webpage. For departmental updates, the Conservation and Planning Departments have worked to contract with a surveyor, Allen and Major, to survey the Riverside Drive property. We are informed that a survey will occur this month and expect to have an exact date soon. We plan to mail to the neighborhood to advise them once we have that date. I attached a copy of communications with the town clerk and the Secretary of the Commonwealth regarding the proposed modular classroom debt exclusion. I'm meeting with various departments on Tuesday, August 18th to discuss the management of championship signs at the town borders, which has been a subject that's been discussed on social media in recent months. The town planners provided the annual verification information to the state in order to maintain the town's housing choice designation. And finally, the Public Services Director and I are working with the legislative delegation to advance implementation of the ride, and we will meet with them in September, provide an update to the board thereafter. For personnel updates, Jack O'Leary was sworn in as a police patrol officer on July 20th. Police Lieutenant Derek Howe retired on August 11th. James Haggerty was promoted to the position of police, James Karsha was promoted to the position of police lieutenant, and Ryan Haggerty to the position of police sergeant on August 12th. As you know, Jacqueline Quinn has accepted the offer to be the director of the Senior Center and Elder Services, and I wish congratulations to all. For contracting and procurement updates, I'm in the process of signing contracts for various state budget earmarks that were secured by our legislative delegation. And for grant updates, we are working to finalize job descriptions to succeed the current grant-funded youth substance abuse grant coordinator position. And that concludes my report.
Okay, great. Going on to
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My identification, what are championship signs at the town borders?
Sure, at the town line is a sign that shows a listing of 5 different, mostly athletic accomplishments for state championships.
Right.
And so what's happening is they hadn't been updated for a long time. They were updated in 2022 when the football team won a Super Bowl. There have been multiple championships thereafter. People are asking for them to be updated. We have youth groups that are now inquiring and are seeking recognition on the signs as well. And all the while, we can only fit 5 signs on the sign itself. So we really got to figure out what we're going to do with this and how we're going to do it. To be fair, there are non-athletic state championships that are being won by groups at the high school level as well. We're getting asked about that. And so we're just trying to have a conversation with all of the involved stakeholders who have knowledge of what's going on in the community to better understand how to manage this. There's been talk about, it's not a huge financial obligation, but there's a cost that goes along with swapping the signs in and out, along with the time that goes into it. And, that's something that we're cognizant of at a point in time when budgets are tight. There may be an opportunity for partnership with either boosters or youth organizations to fund this. We get asked what happens to the signs afterwards when they come down. That might be a little more clear if the sign's been purchased by a third party. So those are all things that we're looking at. We're not looking to pass the cost off. That's not what this is about. But we're looking at management in a little more organized way than it has been, and not just be responding when someone says that something was won. And so.
Yeah. Yes, Catherine.
Relevant to the signage, since we are now Purple Heart Town, are we going to install signs indicating that when you're coming into the town?
We can look at how that might be incorporated. Yeah, absolutely.
For some reason I thought we had
I thought
one.
we had some.
I thought
There were some. I
I
don't
thought
think
there
there
was
were
one on
any.
62.
Yeah, we have a couple. I think we're missing maybe a couple different
When you're coming from
entrances from different towns,
Winfield,
but
you don't have, there isn't
Oh,
one.
okay. I think on 62 coming in, I think I remember seeing that. They're not huge signs, so easy to miss too. And the other thing I remember, this is from years back, I used to complain, it was like you'd have the boys get the big letters, big font, and the girls would get, little tiny font. But I assume now that's like just all the same.
Right now, they're all the same,
Yeah.
the 5 that are up there.
Yeah. All right, moving on to new business.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, did you, oh, yeah, go ahead, Nick.
just on the town administrator report, the implementation of the ride. Does Mike Foley believe that this should be run by town meeting? To me, it would appear like it's a pretty major impact on the town. And I think that town meeting should have the say of this.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Massey asked this question of me earlier, and I told him that we would look into whether town meeting authorization was required, but I think the question is, even if it isn't required, is it something that we would be looking to seek? I don't know that there's any harm in doing so. There will be a cost, and that cost will ultimately result in a net impact of, less state aid coming in because our assessments from the state will increase in order to pay for it. So there is a financial implication for sure. It's really just, we have to get the answer, is town meeting authorization required, which I don't believe it's going to be because we're already included in the MBTA's service area, but not receiving service, as everybody knows. But we'll look into it. But I think the question is, even if it isn't, do we want to have an article, right? I think that's what I understand the question to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's still impactful, so my thought is it should be a town decision. It's not a, it's not a 5-member board decision. It's really everyone in the town is impacted.
All right, Mr. Tyler?
What is the ride again? What is this?
So it's a paratransit transportation provided by the MBTA. So for seniors or the disabled, they are able to call to arrange transportation to medical appointments or to other appointments. And it's not by bus, subway, or train. It's by usually either a sedan or you might see a bus. And it's yellow with the blue stripe and it says the ride on it. So
I see. Okay, thank you.
it's for a nominal fee, either $1 or $3, I think it is now.
Pretty small. Ms. Moore?
Is that something that the transportation committee would be taking on as if we need a survey of the residents? I'm sure the senior center would probably have a lot to say.
Yeah,
about
so
that.
they've been involved in the discussion already, and I think that there was a survey that was put out with regard to the limitations. They certainly don't have any authority to make a commitment on behalf of the town, but I think we know the information is out there that there's a need in the community. I think the question being proposed is, are we prepared to pay for the service to the extent that that's required?
Well, currently, the residents that need medical rides outside of the town who can't drive themselves are relying on volunteers organized by the senior center and center in order to get to their appointments.
Correct.
So if someone can't get a ride from a volunteer resident, they still need to get to their medical appointment. And
Yes.
that there are a number of residents who are limited in how they're trying to schedule their appointments around the time that the volunteer ride is available.
Mhm.
And the senior center staff is spending a significant amount of time trying to play taxi dispatcher, trying to organize that for folks.
Yep.
That's all true, yes.
Okay. All right. New
I
business?
think Mr. Massey has his hand
Yep,
up.
Mr. Massey?
So, Mr. Chairman, how can I able to advance that discussion of being able to put that on town meeting?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The ride, how am I able to advance the discussion here at the board?
Well, I think,
Put it on the warrant for town meeting, or for us to recommend?
well, I think we need to know more about all the implications before we put it on for town meeting, unless the board decides otherwise. But I would say we need to hear a little bit more details about what it's about, and then decide if we want to add it on. And again, we can add it on later on. We can always add on warrant articles later on. They don't have to be published in
Up
order to
until
be
the
there.
8th.
What's that?
Up until the 8th
Of,
of September.
of September 8th.
Yeah, so.
Is that the end? Yeah. I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, I was just gonna mention, we have a couple weeks here, and we have, so, I mean, there's an opportunity to get some information, I'm sure, our public services director has that information on hand.
I'm fairly certain we will not have that information by September 8th. That doesn't mean we couldn't put a warrant article
Okay.
on, but the
So-
first question, it sounds like, is do we legally need to have a warrant article, which I think the answer is going to be no. The second question is, would the board want to have a non-binding article? Again, we may have some information, I'm not sure we'll have all the information. I think we're going to have very little by way of a commitment from the MBTA to actually implement something. That's my concern. It's been my concern for 2 years now, since this language was approved. But again, if it does go forward, there's going to be a financial implication. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah. So,
Right.
so are
And
we,
if it has a financial implication, would you believe that we should put it on town meeting warrant?
if it's going to take I don't know how long it takes to implement something like that. Like if you really just said, forget town meeting, you just want to implement it, when would it be realistic? When would we really be looking for funding?
I think we're going to know more about that after September 8th, because I don't think we're meeting until, it might be the 10th.
No, we're meeting the 8th. Yeah, we're literally meeting on the 8th.
No, it's the week after. The 16th. I'll try to find out what I can.
What's the discussion been thus far as the process of getting, what's the process of getting the ride? I mean, we've been working on this for years and complaining about it for years.
So what's, through you, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What's accelerated things is there's an earmark that was put into, I think, a fair share bill a year or two ago at this point that included language requiring that the ride be extended to North Reading. And so the MBTA has said, it's great that there's language, but there needs to be money. And so there's an issue that they have with regard to what their share of the funding is and whether they have that funding. There's also an issue with regard to what it means for what is a reduced assessment that we're paying to the MBTA right now. I don't recall hearing any particular date that they were talking about implementation, but I suspect it isn't before July 1st, 2027. That's my suspicion, because I don't think they have it planned for in this fiscal year. But again, I don't think a June vote is going to be, I think it's going to be too late for that timeline as well, just being transparent. But we can draft in it, we can see if language is necessary. We can ask town council for advisory language and have it in our back pocket.
And have it in our back pocket.
But I also worry about creating an expectation that we can't deliver on. We ask people at town meeting to vote on whether or not they want the ride when it isn't really being offered to us in any meaningful way either. That also worries me.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Well, let's see what we can get by the 8th,
Yeah.
and we'll just go from there. It'll have to be a, as we encounter it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, future business, new business. Yes, Catherine?
I'd like to get, if possible, if it's not too much work, from the Department of Public Works to see how our new trash collection is going and how we're trending against our annual projections. I know there were a lot of residents who requested smaller barrels, just want to hear an update. Did we get the smaller barrels? Did everyone who wanted one got one? Are there a lot of missed collections that residents are reporting? Just a quick summary of how the new rollout is going.
It's a good idea.
I can answer on the barrels. They are
Okay.
scheduled to be delivered later this week to
Awesome.
the town, and we're looking at a distribution that would occur, I believe we're looking at the first week of September. So the way it's going to work is we have the listing of, I think it's over 300 requesting properties that we are looking to provide both a smaller recycling and trash bin in tandem to them. We're going to mail them a letter. The letter's going to tell them what's happening, which is a particular week they're to leave their barrels curbside. The next day, another vendor will come out and swap one for the other. But those who have requested are going to get a letter that will tell them what to do.
Okay.
So, but no, it has not happened yet. And we purposely have been delaying to do it because we want to do them all at once. And so the last batch is coming in. I think it's the end of this week. So.
Did you say reduction in both these trash and recycling?
Yeah, those who are
okay.
requesting are getting.
I've been hearing recycling just stays the large one. And
No,
okay.
we're
All
looking
right,
to do
good.
for both.
Good, glad you heard. Okay. Any other new business? I got one, unfortunately. I missed this. We have our next meeting on the 21st. That is Yom Kippur, high holiday for Jews. So it's on the 21st.
That's also supposed to be the warrant article informational hearing too, so that's important.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can go with that. I cannot be here, or else I will not be alive the next day. But, but I cannot do the 21st.
So an alternative is to delay a week to the 28th. I don't have that date in front of me in terms of any conflicts, but
Or if you want to do the 22nd, if that works for people, we could do the 22nd the day after. I don't know if that works better.
I can do the 22nd.
And I'm sorry, I didn't see this before.
thank you for bringing it
I
up.
was looking at it this week and realizing it was a mistake.
Works.
22nd works.
I'd be fine for Tuesday the 22nd.
Okay.
That's okay? Wow, a lot of yeses. All right, so you're all Jewish. All celebrating on
Mazel tov?
Monday.
Is that appropriate? Ted?
No.
No, okay.
Yom Kippur is a very solemn,
That's a solemn,
very,
okay.
very
Yeah.
mellow.
That's
high
the Day of Atonement, right?
Correct.
Do you have to fast?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I don't, but you're supposed to. All right, that's it for me. Thank you. That's all I have. All right, anybody else new business? No?
I think Mr. Massey said he might have one.
I thought he did, but
Oh, are you good, Mr. Massey?
Oh, no, I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Thank you, everybody, for your flexibility on that. Really appreciate that. And by the way, you know, when we go to Temple, there's armed guards out front. Think about that for a second.
There's what else? I just missed that.
Armed guards out front,
Of the temple.
armed. As my wife says, they're not carrying machine guns, which they should be. All right, that's it. Okay, let's adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tyler, second by Ms. Moran. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Moran?
Aye.
Mr. O'Leary?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Aye.
Bye, Rita. Mr. Tyler?
Aye.
Mr. Massey?
Aye.
And chair is aye. Thank you, everybody. And look at that.